boys are back in training. It's been a long time coming, so we thought we'd dust off the microphones, dust off the headphones, and return for Bleep testing. We're all eagerly awaiting the new Sky Bet League One season. And with the first pre-season friendly due to take place a week today, we thought what better time to get together and see if we can still do it. Can we still cut it at the league above? Can we still talk about all things Mansfield Town? Can we still have random conversations and random games? Can we bring you Series 8 of the Mansfield Matters podcast? This is the show for the fans, by the fans. This is the place to have your say on your team. Why? Because Mansfield always matters. Join in the live feed. If you listen to the audio version of this, make sure you come and check us out when we're next live. So let's get Series 8 underway then. Take a deep breath in, everybody. It's time for Bleep testing. Well, hello and welcome to the Mansfield Matters podcast. It's the show for the fans, by the fans. Why? Because Mansfield always matters. It feels great to be back with you. Hope that you've had a fantastic summer break and whatever it is that you've been doing, you've been enjoying yourself along the way. Joining me, as always, on this podcast, if this is the first time that you've ever watched or listened to Mansfield Matters, let me tell you a little bit about what it is. 8 seasons ago now, myself, Nathan Edge and Cam Felton, neither of which, by the way, are with us tonight, were at a pre-season friendly at Alfreton away and thought, do you know what? We want to do something to talk about Mansfield Town. We want to have our own pub. As non-drinkers at the time, we wanted to have our own sort of version of the pub. So we decided to start a podcast and talk all things Mansfield Town. It started off in parks, and then we quickly realised that it was a bit too cold come October, so we decided to all get around to my house and talk all about the Stags. Then COVID hit a few years later, and we hit upon the idea of doing it virtual, which basically means that none of us have to spend time in the same room together. But we like to be in the virtual room, and every single week, not only do we give you guys the chance to have your say on your team in the comments. By the way, if you want to have your say on your team, anything Mansfield Town related, get it in the chat right now and send us your comments, your questions and opinions. I'm always joined by a panel of Mansfield Town, is experts the right word? I don't know. Mansfield Town enthusiasts of different ages, wisdoms and experiences. So without further ado, let's introduce you to some of them and check in on how they've been this summer. First and foremost, let's go over to Edwinstowe and say hello to Mr. Clive Parkin.
Good evening, Craig. Hello, everybody.
Let's go over to wherever he lives. It's Jim's house and say hello to Mr. Jim Evans.
Evening, Craig. Evening, everybody. Kirkby Craig, I live.
There you go. I didn't know, but I was going to guess at the Outback somewhere. But sometimes that's what it feels like with your broadband. But we've got you on, and we're always, we're always getting there, and we're always getting through. And of course, the man who everybody's been waiting to see. Last time you heard from him, he was saying Mansfield Town are promoted to Sky Bet League One. It's Mr. Alan Wilson. The legend continues. Al, how are you?
I'm all right. Thank you, Craig. Good evening and good evening, everybody.
Great to see you as always. Yes, as always, we want you to have your say on your team in the comments, in the chat, and get any comments you want to come through as well. First and foremost, let's start by checking in, shall we? What have you been up to this summer? For me, it's been a little bit of a quiet one. I had a little bit of a week's holiday and just sort of recharged the batteries a little bit and looking forward to next season, keeping one eye, of course, on the incomings and outgoings. Jim, what about you? What have you been up to since we last saw you at One Call Stadium?
Just the normal, really, Craig. Just going to work, going to the gym. Just the normal, mate. Just waiting for the season to start again.
Picking over. Alan, have you been resting up the voice, getting ready to announce all these strange names?
Yes, I've been okay. We've had a surprise week for my wife's birthday. She's at her special birthday, so I went to Whitby for the week, and then I'm going away again on holiday in a few weeks. So, yes, thoroughly enjoyed it. Could do with the weather being a bit warmer, though.
Absolutely. Well, let me be the first to say on behalf of all of Mansfield Matters, a happy 21st birthday, Mrs. Wilson. Clive, you've obviously been up and down to the club. You've to get your hands on the new shirt. The only one of the 4 tonight that's wearing the new shirt.
No, I got it direct online from Castor. I have to say, for all the criticism, I ordered it one day to arrive the following. So,
Wow.
but I didn't get a discount because, well, I didn't. But there you go. So, but to answer the question you've asked of other people, what have I been doing? Well, I've been bored out of my mind. I can't stand no football. I'm afraid watching England isn't a substitute. If actually it's the antidote to football.
You're spot on. I can say now that I've not watched a single second of the Euros and don't intend to either. The football fix for me will come this time next week. The of course long-awaited trip to Retford, the annual trip to Retford. Although Al, I think you can say that you can prove how bored I've been and how much looking forward to seeing Stags again in some form of action I've been, because I was actively looking forward to going to the cricket, which was supposed to be tonight, and that must have come as a big shock to you.
It was actually, yeah. I just thought I'd ask the question, whether you were going or not, because I thought when I saw Lee put it out originally on Facebook and whatever, I thought, what sort of Stag side is it going to be? But when he named the players, I thought, crikey, that will be a good side. It'll be a good laugh. So I was more than up for it, and I just hope when they rearrange it, I hope I'm available to go.
Well, I thought, because it was a mixture of a staff 11 and sort of players, I thought you'd be there as, I don't know, either umpire or fourth back.
Well, always available if needed, but I would have thought Wills had got that covered.
It's always a great event, isn't it, though, Clive, to the fact that the club were willing to do something like that. Obviously, a shame that the weather's ruined it a little bit and they've not been able to do that this evening. It'll get rearranged. But it just goes to show, again, how much of a community club we are, the fact that Nigel and the players were going to go and do that.
I think it also shows that in this country, cricket and July are synonymous with rain.
You're not wrong.
But I think I'd have gone just to show my face, because it's only around the corner from where I live, and I look forward to going to the rearranged fixture, as it were.
Yes, it should be a good one. We've temporarily lost Jim, but I'm sure we might get him back in a little while. As it is, though, we shall continue, and as always, you're welcome to have your say on your team in the comments. We always encourage you to do exactly that. We should talk about as well, and should talk about the incomings and outgoings as well. I'm sure we'll do that a little bit more. Jim's back with us. Jim, are you are you a cricket fan, or were you just going to go along tonight because it was Stags basically and some form of interaction?
No, I do like a spot of cricket. Yeah, I'll be honest. I prefer the Test match stuff though to the one day, but I think that's the proper stuff. But I'd have gone along because it was just to see everybody again as well. But yeah, I don't mind a bit of cricket. It's just I don't know why we bother in this country though with the weather. But
that's very, very true, isn't it? Very, very true. It's always an interesting one. We'll talk incomings and outgoings in just a minute, and we'll go through before the season starts. Basically, all our thoughts on everything going into League One. Tonight really sort of came about because we were all going to go to the cricket. We're all going to meet up. So we thought, why not meet up virtually online and sort of have a little bit of a chat and do a bit of a podcast about it as well. Let's talk first and foremost, Clive, before we delve into the 4 new arrivals and the outgoings. Let's talk progression since we last spoke, because, of course, the big talking point when we finished Series 7 of the podcast was that Bishop Street was to be redeveloped, and my God, they've cracked on, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've confused people because there was talk of redevelopment, and what's happened so far is a refurbishment. They've taken down the camera gantry and made good the roof, and they, as of yesterday, the stand was full of seats. So I don't know how many seats you can get in the Bishop Street stand, but the last I heard was that we were trying to create in a hurry 1,000 extra seats available to fans because of the pressure that our limited accommodation has. And 1,000 will make a big difference when you consider that You know, we struggle with anything near 8,000, and we're going to get that this year. So it's got to be good news. But I think it's a phased development. I would imagine that next season, next close season, they'll start doing something a little bit more permanent, a little bit of an improvement, because I don't see what they've done as much of an improvement, except to bring something that, in my mind, should never have been taken out of commission back into play.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, as I understand it, it's sort of a three sort of part thing. And part one was very much rip the advertising boardings down, tidy it up, and get the seats in as quickly as possible to try and get away fans in there. The only thing that will now stop away fans going in there is obviously passing all the SAG tests and getting things like food, toilets, and obviously entries and exits sorted. But I believe that they're hopeful to do that for the end of August if they can get that ticked off, maybe even a little bit sooner, because I think the seats have actually gone in a little bit sooner than what they expected. Phase two would then be to look at developing it either side and sort of making it a little bit longer. They've obviously started clearing a little bit of the space down either side to do that as well. And then the third and final phase would be to do the development side of it and sort of build on top with all these executive boxes and lounges, which they were discussing. But that would be, 2-3 seasons down the line, providing we were still at a good level. That's as I understand it anyway. I might be completely wrong, but so far, Alan, it's looking to play out that way, isn't it? With phase one getting the.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, from what Clive said with the seats. I haven't seen that bit, where they've put the seats in. So, fair play to them. It sounds good. But I understood it that when it was, when it was all boarded up, I thought there was a lot of wood inside. But it seems when they took all the boarding out and that, it was like the concrete steps. So I'm not so sure. But, if we got the seating in, fair play.
I think what it does say, though, Jim, is that behind they've not just waited for us to get promotion and then gone, right, we'll start this work. That work's probably been going off behind those boardings to get it ready in a state to then do the next bit for a very long time indeed.
Yeah, but obviously promotion is what's triggered it, and I think the clubs clearly they want to tap into the extra ticket sales that they're going to get. But it's just been nice to see some faces there now, and fans all sides of the pitch. It's been an embarrassment for too long.
Yeah, it has. I'm really looking forward to seeing it up and running, Clive, to be fair. I think it'll be a real good asset for us once if we can get away fans in there, then we can, sell extra season tickets and sell extra tickets on the gate.
I just worry that access to it might not pass the SAG worry test for the away fans. And I think because the way I understand it, access was going to be from next to the groundsman's hut in the Quarry Lane corner. Well, that contradicts everything that ground safety worry about in terms of not mixing fans in the approach to and the egress from the ground. So logically, if it was to be an away accommodation, you'd expect them to come in via the north stand. I may be wrong. I'm only guessing like everybody else. But yes, I think anything is improvement on what's been for the last 10 years because it's been an eyesore. And thank goodness the cameras were on that side of the ground because what a poor advertisement for a football ground it's been. Now then, this season, they've taken the gantry down. And my understanding is they're going to put the TV station in the director's box area in the Ian Greaves. Now, if they do that, Caroline will get on TV a bit more often, I guess. But the reality is you're going to see the arsehole of the ground again. But that's why it has to be tidied up, in my opinion. It should have been tidied up for us, and never mind the TV audience. As a club, we've obviously had priorities that have prevented us doing what we've set about doing now. And I can't really fault that logic because it was important to build a successful organisation and a successful team on the field. And I think both those things have been done quite well.
I think what that does show, Alan, is the point of it's all hearsay because the club have not at all communicated or shared any public plans to what they're going to do to it. Because contrary to what Clive's heard, I've heard that the access is going to be at the north stand end and the gate's going to be moved a little bit further along to do that segregation sort of things. And then the facilities, mobile toilets and a burger van will be placed in front of the old scoreboard, which is where it's been cleared, and the gantry would go back on top with access to the side. So it just goes to show, doesn't it, Alan, that because nothing's been communicated via the club officially, it's all up in the air. We'll see what happens as time goes.
Yeah, I didn't know about the gantry, about the cameras going in the director's box. I'm not privy to that
It's
conversation.
only what I've heard, Alan. It could be
Yeah.
true. It might not be. But the person that I get this information from is usually pretty accurate. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. It doesn't impact on what we do.
No.
And I just think that the important thing is to expand the capacity of the ground. And if the first phase is to put another 1,000 people through the turnstiles, that's got to be good news.
Yeah, I'm going to say I had heard though that what Craig said about the toilets and the either food facilities, burger van, call it whatever. And I'd heard that they were extending it from to the left-hand side as you look from where my box is, to the left-hand side up to the scoreboard, and then from the right-hand side up to the white thing that's at your space. That's what I'd heard or read or, whatever. But it'll be interesting to see it all come together. That's it, Will.
But they have done an awful lot of ground clearing behind the
Yeah.
old terrace on the gymnasium side, which
Yeah.
suggests that that's probably either where they're going to base facilities or access, or even just preparing the ground for when they do the next phase, which I think we all expect there to be a widening of the stand.
Hmm.
I don't know. We're all guessing. So it's good fun guessing, isn't it?
Yes, and that's the key thing. I think, we talk about you can put seats in it and make it, put the seats physically there and go, right, well, we've got 1,000 extra seats now, but then it has to pass the testing. And unfortunately, from when it was last used to now, which SAG and all the required bodies require are completely different. And without there being facilities there, even if it's something like a Salford facility, it simply won't open. So that'll be the next bit of red tape that they need to sort. But there you go. It's all fun and games, isn't it, Jim? This guessing game, and it would just be nice to actually sit in our seats, looking over at something which isn't a rotting bit of wood.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Every area of the club's moving forward, isn't it? So, which is coming from promotion, really. But I think we should keep the focus as a club on, the pitch first, because I think it's easy for clubs to take their eye off the ball and they start getting caught up in this and that, and keep, the pitch is the first priority, I think. Well, what happens on the pitch.
Absolutely. Well, let's turn our attentions to what happens on the pitch then. And let's start with the news of departures, Alan. Obviously, since we last spoke, we were talking about the retain list and things like that. And then we had a little bit of a shock. And that was, of course, and it's a shame he's not here to share his views on it. Nathan's favourite, Ollie Clark, has departed to Swindon on a fee. Logistically for him, I understand. It's my understanding that it was a move which came completely out of the blue, but one he's made for personal reasons. I think his partner's pregnant. Obviously, it's more the part of the world where he has a support network, and therefore makes a lot more logistical sense given his age as well. So we wish him all the best, but it's sad to see him go, isn't it?
Yeah, it was sad to see. Like you say, it was quite a shock when you said you read that Ollie Clark was going, but like you said, it's 36 mile away from where he lives, I think. So it's just they must have done him a good deal with a good contract as well, I would have thought. So good luck to that lad. They've got a cracking player on their hands.
Jim, what did you make of that departure? Because again, he was a player which very much part of the furniture over the years he'd become.
Yeah, I think he was a good player, and I think he'd have been all right in League One as well. But I think his injuries went against him a little bit. I think, and the fact that we got offered a fee for him as well and got a pretty big earner off the books, I think it just made sense all round. And obviously he wanted the move, so no hard feelings. It's just football and it's life. It just suited everybody. We move on. But yeah, I liked him. I thought he was a good player. He just couldn't stay fit. He couldn't string half a dozen games together. And the best ability is availability. It's just one of those things.
That's the key thing there, isn't it, Clive? The fact that we actually got a fee for him as well. If you look at the business we've done, we're going to look at the 4 incomings in just a second. But, all 4 of those we've not spent a penny on. And the one player we've got out of our squad who we're intending to keep as part of it, we've actually received some readies for. We don't know how much that is, but it will be a nominal fee.
Well, it's cash. That's the difference. It's just money. I mean, the biggest expense of playing staff is their wages. So Jim's right. Taking a fairly senior player out of the squad, you're going to save £4,000 or £5,000 a week in wages. But if we got £100,000 for him, then that makes a big hole in running costs. We don't know. They don't disclose. Most clubs don't disclose fees nowadays, not at our level anyway. But good luck to him. He's been a decent servant to us. I think he's done his best for us. There's been games when he's been the star, but Jim's right. We've had him horizontal on stretches for too many games, and I think where we are now is we move into another phase. We find another player of his caliber, or slightly better, if you like, to see us in this next leg of our progress.
And speaking of the next leg of our progress, obviously his departure has made way for other players as well. So let's take a look at those who have come in so far then, Alan. And I think the first and foremost, let's start with Lee Gregory, of course, back for a second spell at the club where he made his professional debut all those years ago. I think he played, 2 games under David Holdsworth back in the horror days. But he joins us now, and it's a solid addition.
Yeah, definitely, because all the write-ups that you hear about, read about him, and what people say about him is an actual 150% player. He will, give everything for the shirt, and I think that's all Mansfield fans want. If they see somebody putting 100% in, they'll be more than happy. And I think he'll chip in with the goals that we're hoping that he will do as well. I think it's a good signing because he's supposed to be a very fit youth as well.
Yeah, certainly so. And I think another thing with that, Clive, it just again shows how Mansfield do their business. It was made no secret of actually in the interviews after he signed that we were in fact in for him in January, but the fees which Sheffield Wednesday wanted or whatever were a little bit too high. So we've just bided our time and got him for absolutely nothing in the summer window. And it again shows how Nigel Clough and his staff go about their business. Patience is a virtue.
Yeah, I would imagine he's getting a good wage. But what contract has he got? Do we know how many years?
I think it's a year, isn't it?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I see him as part of the transition. But he'll be a great player and a great asset to us if he stays fit, because his goal scoring ability is remarkable. And he's got plenty of experience in leagues above Mansfield, the average Mansfield player. So I'm pleased to see Lee Gregory come, because I think it's a notable acquisition, and I hope he'll bag a few goals.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Jimmy is an exciting player to have as well, isn't he? And we saw so many times last season Aidan Flint pinging balls downfield, and we're thinking no one's getting on the end of them, because I think he was looking for Lee Gregory, and well, now he's got him. He's his mate.
Yeah, I think he's the style of striker is as well. He's the one kind of striker I don't think we had got in that squad. An old-fashioned English number 9 who's going to big, strong, get in the box and around the penalty spot and attack crosses. We haven't really got someone like that. We've got him now, and yeah, I think as long as he can stay fit. I mean, even if he plays 20 games and gets 10 goals, it's worth the 1-year deal. So I think we need to bring in another one though, especially with Gale going out as well. But now I think it makes sense. I mean, first season back, we're establishing ourselves. We need experience, proven experience at the level, and now it makes sense.
And of course, the next one, Clive, the Australian international Keanu Bacchus. That was one which sort of came completely out of the blue, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely a left field acquisition there. An Australian international out of the Scottish Premier League. I think our recruiting system's got width. It's a player that, as far as I understand, has never played for Burton.
It does happen on occasion,
Yeah, I really haven't. I saw a bit of TV coverage of him, and he looks a stylish player.
Certainly does. Right, let's move swiftly on, because I've just it's only going to be a short one tonight, and let's talk about Fraser Blake Tracy, Jim. Another good addition, experience. Really good player, can play a number of positions: left back, left wing back, left side centre half. He fits the Nigel Clough mould of multiple positions really, really well, doesn't he?
He does, and I was thinking about him today. Actually, I reckon come Christmas he'll probably be our regular number 3 because Callum McDonald I think's been deemed not good enough. McLaughlin can't stay fit, and Cargill's too slow at left back for me. So I reckon FBT, who I know him as, I think will be probably our regular number 3. But yeah, he looks a good player. He played for Swindon, didn't he? So yeah, good on the ball. But just hope we can stay fit because most players come here and they end up on a stretcher within 2 weeks. But no, it looks a good signing.
And of course, Alan, let's bring it to the fourth signing. We were talking about Ollie Clark leaving. That then opened the door to bring somebody else in. And we did. His name's Dave.
Yeah. Our friend Deji Oshilaja. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him, to be fair. And I think Keanu Bacchus, I think I can see him being the replacement for Ollie Clark, personally. But, I'm open to seeing all the midfielders. But all 4 acquisitions, I think, are top quality. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how he gels them into the side.
Yeah, certainly so. Well, they're the 4 new boys. Hopefully we'll have a few more. I know there might be a few trialists. A few people in the comments are mentioning Stephen Quinn's 18-year-old nephew, Ben, apparently is at training. Celtic striker, any truth in it? No idea. Paul seems to think he was there yesterday. A few others saying that he was possibly there as well. And talking about Fraser Blake Tracy, Kieran says Cargill is faster. But I think he might be looking at Cargill to fill that centre-back role, which David has just put in the comments that we need a centre-back, that's for sure. Well, I think that's he'll look at Cargill there, and Blake Tracy is an option as well. We've got plenty of options.
Craig, Cargill's always said he prefers to play that central defender role than out on the left or right because it suits his game better. And I think that also means that the raw pace isn't quite as important.
Absolutely. Well, we'll delve into it more as the season goes on, and once we've had a little look at them actually in a game. This time next week, of course, we'll be just about getting ready to kick off away at Retford. But let's talk one final piece of news tonight before we wrap things up, and that is, of course, Jim, that James Gale, you mentioned it there, has gone out on loan, season-long loan to Solihull. That's a great move for him, and potentially one where he could get another promotion on his belt.
Brilliant. It's what he needs, isn't it? He needs to go somewhere where he's going to play every week, learn the game, learn the position, learn the dark arts, and come back, an operator. And because he does look a bit raw at the moment, so it's exactly what he needs, exactly what we need to do with him. So yeah, good move.
Fingers crossed. Clive, what do you make of that move for James Gale? It's nice to actually see Nigel Clough loaning him out this time rather than hanging on until the very last day in the window and then just keeping him around as a spare part. Finally, we're developing talent.
Absolutely the right thing to do. If the management are confident we don't need him on a regular basis, it's only right and fair that he should be given football to develop his career. And by putting him out on loan, we reserve the right to have him back. So, good luck to him. We took him on as a bit of a prospect. He needs to develop to be good enough to play at the level we're at. And I think it'll be great for him to play in that level of football. And it's a very competitive league, of course.
Yeah, it certainly is. I don't think there's much between League Two and the National League, that's for sure. So it'd be interesting to see if he can keep himself fit, and I'm sure he'll get some goals under his belt as well. Pretty much a little bit like Jimmy Knowles did when he went out, and obviously he's got himself a good move to Accrington now as well, hasn't he? So, Alan, finally from you, obviously we're still very, very early days. We're back in pre-season training for a couple of days now. First friendly this time next week away at the traditional Retford United in that game there. Are you looking forward to seeing us in friendly action, or a friendly's neither here nor there for you?
No, I do go to the occasional ones, the ones I can get to. I do enjoy Matlock. I always like to go to Matlock. That's always
fish and chips. Friend. That's all that's about. Fish and chips.
Well, you can't you combine both, Clive? There's nothing wrong with having fish and chips and then watching the Stags. I think that's a perfect antidote, that is. But yeah, I look forward to seeing the friendlies and the ones that I can get to. And I'm just looking forward to the season. It can't come soon enough.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect place to leave it. Apologies that it's only been a short one tonight. We will be back in full swing as the pre-season continues. It's been great to see Jim, Clive and Alan with us this evening, and great to have you guys back watching on the live feed as well. Don't forget to get involved and have your say on your team all throughout the week. We are at MTFC Matters on all things social media, and that is where you'll find out when we're next going to be live. It'll probably be in the next 2 weeks or so, once we've got a friendly or so under our belts, probably to null the boredom as the Stags jet off to Portugal. That, though, is all we've got time for on tonight's Mansfield Matters podcast. The Bleep testing is over, and we've just about survived it. Time to step things up now as pre-season preparations get underway and we head towards our opening game in Sky Bet League One. Make sure you join us next time as we do a full evaluation of the 4 new signings and hopefully some more by then. Talk more about the outgoings, look a little bit of the fixture list and everything else in between as football well and truly returns. This is the show for the fans, by the fans. This is the Mansfield Matters podcast. Why? Because pre-season, cup games, league games, whatever, Mansfield will always matter. Good night.